They say mothering is a biological act. I say it's a strategic one. The intentional choice to nurture a dream and protect a lineage. But what happens when a life you've built no longer fits the legacy you're called to leave? Today we find out. I'm Deneen L. Garrett, and this is Women of Color Live. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to Women of Color Live, the live version of Women of Color, an intimate conversation, a top 20 best women's empowerment podcasts. We center and empower women of color. We also have a community for Black women 50 plus, the Dream Lifestyle Collective. Shout out to our production team at the Leon Thomas Group, and a special shout out to today's guest, Lynelle Baker-Hall. She is a senior government advisor, founder of a global travel and lifestyle agency, and author of Start Healthy. After losing her mother 3 years ago, she began architecting a global plan B, not just for herself, but for her family. And this month, May, we're launching our series, She Who Mothers, Redefining Legacy, Love, and Lineage. Lynelle, welcome to Women of Color Live.
Hello, Deneen. Welcome. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Thank you for having me. You are so welcome. And so last week I had a guest, actually maybe 2 weeks ago, another friend, and I learned something about her preparing for the show, just like I learned something about you. You and I go back, I don't even know how many years, but we go back more than 24 because my son is 24. So we go back plus 24 years. But anyway, I learned in this whole process that Lynelle is an author. So, hey girl, hey.
So, yes, I have a few projects that I'm working on. One of the, I have actually 2 books that are being published, and one is already published, but it hasn't been launched. So I'm not going to talk a lot about it just yet, but that one is Plan B, Your Guide to Becoming an Expat. And that happened back when I was ending a relationship living in Maryland. And I actually moved to Vegas first. And then I decided that I wasn't in love with Vegas. And I decided to move to China. So I lived in Beijing, and then I moved to Ningbo, and I taught English overseas for some years before the pandemic. And then when the pandemic happened, I became displaced during Chinese New Year, and had to reinvent myself yet again. So it's been quite a journey, but I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, I know. And I pretty much have watched your journey from a distance. And we crossed paths in Vegas because I lived in Vegas, my son and I, for 4 years, but that was before you got there. But so it was interesting. And I actually did love it for the time that I was there. But, things have a purpose, a season, and all those things. So 4 years was it for us. And then we came back home. So listen, for those who are watching, join in the conversation, drop a comment, drop a question, let us know you're out there. Put WOC for Women of Color, Dreamer if you're part of the Dream Lifestyle Collective, or Heart if you are a family or a friend. So now we're going to get into it. So Lynelle, you've built a life that lives at the intersection of public service and personal preparedness. What was the moment or the loss that made you understand that every woman needs a plan B, and that building one is an act of love?
Well, there wasn't just one moment. There were layers of realization. And I have to say, what made it crystal clear for me was witnessing how quickly life can shift, loss, betrayal, instability, and sometimes all at once. I've seen women give everything to their families, their careers, their community, and still find themselves unprotected when things fall apart. And so that's when I understood that a plan B isn't just a backup, that is an act of love and self-respect. And for me, building a plan B became about ensuring that no matter what happens, I have options, not just for survival, but for peace. And women deserve that. We're taught to pour out, but not always taught to prepare. Um, so I want women to know that preparing is not, preparation is not fear-based, it's freedom-based.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that was the realization that I became when I had to reinvent myself on more than one occasion.
And you know what? I love that. I love what you just said. And I'm feeling that this episode, even if it's just this part right here, is definitely going to be a vulnerable one for me.
Mhm.
It's going to be somewhat of an emotional one. Because, loss, right? That was part of the question that I asked. And I mentioned how you had lost your mom. And as I shared with you before we went live, is that right now my house is hospice. My cousin is actively transitioning. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. And we definitely have to take care of ourselves, pour into ourselves first so that we are able to pour into other people. And me sharing this is an act of being vulnerable. And I've been doing that for like the last week or so, right? Here it is, the point of this podcast, the point of this live, a lot of the work that I do is to empower women. And vulnerability is a part of that. And if I'm going to be the one who's saying, yes, live your best life, live your dream life, do all these things, then I have to share more of me. And so that's what I'm doing. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with you as well.
Yeah, and it's not always the easiest thing because the first loss wasn't my mother. The first loss was the relationship.
Yeah,
Was in a long-term relationship, and it kind of abruptly came to an end. And that was what I'd known for the last 8 years. And I mean, relationships end every day. I mean, so it's not the end of the world, but there is an emotional toll that it takes. And and the embarrassment of where you live, your neighbors knowing that things have ended. So I needed a shift, and that was when I moved to Vegas. And um, again, it was okay. I didn't not like it, but I didn't love it. And so when the opportunity to go to China presented itself, I was excited about that. And I feel like it was more of what I needed because, it wasn't just a move for me. It was an exploration. It was a whole different way of living and discovery. And I learned things about myself that I didn't even know existed. So.
no, and that's beautiful. And that's what it's about, right? For us to do things that where we are able to discover different things about ourselves. And that's why I think travel is so important. I know on a previous show, we talked about how traveling is a privilege, which it absolutely is. We don't all have to like go to China to explore. We can always just hop in a car and even go to another city within our same state. It's just a point of just getting out of your box and learning and exploring and getting in touch with yourself, right? Just doing something that you don't typically and normally do.
Absolutely. Getting out of your comfort zone, exploring. I mean, there are things in our own backyard here in Michigan, and often people will travel the world and not even take advantage of the things that are right in their backyard, right here at home. So, yes, you don't have to go abroad to explore, but it's for me it's very exciting to do so, but definitely not if you need a staycation, if you want to go up north. I mean, even just you can have a staycation at home. Sometimes you need just a day where you can decompress, have a bubble bath, pour yourself some wine, cut the phones off, and just have some you time. And all women deserve that at least once a
Absolutely.
month,
Absolutely.
if not more. If
I
not
know,
more.
right? Not every Sunday or whatever day you want to choose, right? Like we need to do more of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, more important to
Exactly.
ourselves. Yeah.
And you
So
plan it like you plan everything else, like you
put it
plan a
on
meeting.
your calendar.
Put it on
Absolutely.
your
Put it on your
calendar.
calendar.
At 5 o'clock on Friday, I'm
Mhm.
not going to be available. I have a meeting with myself
Yes, right. A meeting with
for
myself. I
some
love that.
time,
So every Friday for
whatever
me,
it is.
whatever it is. So every Friday for me from 12 to 4, I do have self-love carved out. Now, to be real, it doesn't always happen. And it's okay. It's just a point that I did at least set an intention to do it. And it's more likely to happen when you set that intention than when you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So plan B. So prior to, the call, the posts and all those things and ask some questions about people and plan A's and plan B's. And I did get a few responses. And so it was some good energy. So again, if you're watching, tap in. We want to know you're out there. We want to hear what you have to say, comments, questions, all the things. But I did have Ashley Minth, who she mentioned that she did have this plan A. It didn't work out. And then it ended up being what she's doing now. And she's really growing in this thing that she's doing. And it's these salon dinners. Ashley is an artist. And then she also makes space for other artists, right? And so that became her plan B. And then my cousin, Woody, he mentioned how sometimes our plan B really was the plan A all along. We just didn't know it. Right? So that was kind of cool, like to see that. So, just seeing the different perspectives. All right. So you navigate faith-based and government partnerships while also being a mother figure to a community and to bonus adult children. How has your definition of legacy evolved? And what does intentional mothering look like when it extends beyond your own bloodline?
Oh, great question. So my definition of legacy has expanded far beyond bloodlines. For me, legacy is more about impact. It's who you cover, who you guide, who you help stand taller. Like my husband says, he's running for office, and that's something that a tagline of his. But who you help stand taller in their own lives because you showed up. Mothering for me it's a form of nurturing. It's intentional. It's equipping and pouring wisdom, discernment, and structure into people so that they can navigate their lives with clarity and confidence. And in addition, whether it's through my work in the faith community, through the engagement that I do there, or relationships with my bonus adult children, is to help people become whole and not dependent. That's the goal.
Yeah, and I like that what Corey says as far as standing tall. Who have you helped stand tall? Right, because that is impact, and that's part of why we are here, right? Ourselves first, because we do need to be whole before we can, we should be whole before we start pouring in other people. We're able to better pour when we are whole. So I do like that perspective. All right.
So real legacy. I'm sorry. Real legacy is not just being remembered, but being replicated in strength, wisdom, and integrity. And that's something that he does well. And it's something that we all hope that we are doing.
Yeah, replicate. I love that. So Lynelle, for the woman who has spent her life being the pillar for everyone else, how does she begin building a plan B for her own global freedom without feeling like she's leaving her responsibilities behind? And before you answer, we'll be back after this break.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Deneen L, Garrett, a cultural alchemist who shapes culture through storytelling, through writing, through speaking, and through the Dream Lifestyle Collective, which is a community for Black women 50 and up. You also know that I have a podcast, Women of Color, an Intimate Conversation, which is a weekly live on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Well, as of Friday, it's official. My journey to become entrepreneur of impact has ended. Good news is I did make it through top 5. Again, the bad news is the journey is over. Yes, a bit disappointed that I will not make the cover of Entrepreneur Magazine. I will not have the 101 coaching with Damon John. And of course, the $25,000 prize money, which was going to be invested into the podcast and the collective. But here's the thing. Those things can still come. It can still happen. It's just that my contest journey is over. So there's that. So if you're wondering how to back up, first of all, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because of your daily votes, because of your tax deductible donations to Gen Youth, I did make it through to top 5. So, let me go ahead and celebrate that. Let's clap it up for that. Now, wondering how you can still support me? Multiple ways. Watch and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe and listen to the podcast. If you are a Black woman 50 and up, join the collective. And if you're a business looking to sponsor, hit me up. So just getting started. Just one part of a journey has ended. It's only open space for this next part. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. So welcome back to Women of Color Live. We are talking global citizenship and intentional lineage with Lynelle Baker-Hall. And before the break, I asked, how does a woman begin building a plan B for her own global freedom without feeling like she's leaving her responsibilities behind? All right, Lynelle, let's get into it.
Okay, so global preparedness as a legacy tool. I need Black women, especially those over 50 and beyond, to understand that building a life abroad is not running away. It's expanding your options, because we've been conditioned to believe that our roots must limit our reach, but legacy is not about staying in one place. It's about positioning yourself and your family for access, opportunity, and longevity. Global preparedness is more about understanding how to live well wherever you are. Like we said, there are things you can do in your own backyard, things that you aren't doing that, you can start doing that will improve your life and your longevity, creating financial and lifestyle flexibility, giving the next generation options that we didn't have. And so when I created the magazine Start Healthy, it was more than about travel. It was about travel, but it was also about teaching women and men how to move through the world with intention, confidence, and readiness. And that is not escapism, it's strategy. And so I want people to understand that, and especially women, that you have permission to be who you are, to explore, to live the life of your dreams, and to live the things that you have manifested in your mind. You should not wait until you retire to start living, because I hear so many people say that, and it's like, we're living right now. Tomorrow's not promised. And so we have to get out of that mindset that, when we retire, we're going to do this. And, next year we're going to do that. And, sometimes that doesn't come. And I can say that freely because I've dealt with so much loss lately. And so part of my entire forum is about Carpe Diem, seize the moment, live for today. Of course, you save something for a rainy day and prepare for the future, but you have to enjoy your time here. So to the woman who's done everything right, and it still feels like your own freedom may be out of reach, I say this clearly and with no apologies, that you don't have to, earn your freedom through exhaustion. We have a tendency to do that.
We do.
It's not about being exhausted. And it's about living, resting without guilt, exploring without explanation, and just building a life that feels good to you. Because at the end of the day, legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's how fully you've allowed yourself to live while you were here.
Oh, I love all of that. And what did you say, girl? We don't have to earn the rest through exhaustion?
Exactly.
Wow. Because that is how a lot of us live, right? A lot of us tire ourselves out. We're doing all the things. And, you talked about, not waiting until we retire. Same here. That's why I started, my whole mission around living a dream lifestyle. It's like, you know what? Do that thing now. Like you said, we're living now. Tomorrow is not promised, guaranteed. We talked about that already on, during these few minutes, and I share with you, what I'm experiencing right now. You share what you've experienced as well. And we got to live now, right?
Absolutely.
Because again, it's not promised. You may wait until you're retired and then you don't feel like it. You may not even physically be able to. So you got to find out that thing that brings you joy, that lights your fire, that, gets you up, that pep in your step, and start doing it and living that now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So your book, Start Healthy, A Guide to Travel and Healthy Living, centers global readiness and intentional living. What do you
Mhm.
want Black women, again, especially those 50 and up, to understand about why building a life abroad isn't escapism, but one of the most powerful acts of legacy that they can make for future generations?
Well, it's definitely not escapism. I mean, it's something. It's life changing. You're in a whole you're in a whole nother climate. I mean, you're seeing life from a totally different perspective. Uh, for me, it was a total game changer. And and I can say this because it's true. One of the things that I loved about living abroad is that, as an international teacher, you don't have rent, you don't have a mortgage. And that was a game changer. I mean, just think about the money that you can save when you don't have those type of things. But I mean, people move in different ways. I mean, some people buy a home there, or some people would have a mortgage, depending on how they're going abroad and what they're going to be doing while they're there. But I just feel like it's a life changer, and it's an experience. And what people need to realize is that if you decide that you want to experience life abroad, and you may get to a place and you may say, hey, I don't like it. I can't adjust to the social norms, and I want to go back. And that's a real thing as well. And so it's okay to allow yourself that time to explore different places. Before you make a decision where you want to live long term, you may, travel to a couple different places before you find the place that you feel like you can call home. And you don't have to stay there year round. I mean, people have this thing that we have here in the States called snowbirds. So some people live in Michigan part of the year, and then they'll live in Florida or California another part of the year. It's whatever works for you. It's whatever it looks like for you in your world. What makes you happy, what's going to bring you peace in
Yeah.
your life.
And I
it,
love that, the hopping around. And the thing that, like, for me, I love international travel. So that's like my main thing. And when I do travel, I look for blacks in wherever I'm going, Facebook
mhm,
groups, right? And
mhm,
there are groups for Black women for, relocating to Panama. There's
mhm.
a group in Portugal, Mexico City specifically. So wherever you're looking to go, do your research,
Yeah.
check with these, see if there's groups, and then connect with them and say, hey, this is what I'm interested in doing, and that's helpful as well, because you do want a community,
Mhm.
right? And you want to tap and kind of get, thoughts and experiences for other people,
Mhm.
just getting the information, right? And then you make a decision as to what you want to do with that information. And again, maybe you decide, I only go for a few months and then let me go somewhere else, and so on and so forth. Do that, right? Start thinking about that. Start thinking like, that's what I want my life to look like, and let me check it out.
And so I provide a service called astrocartography.
Okay,
And
tell
what
us.
what that is global mapping. And I use your birthday, the
Okay.
time you were born, the place you were born, and I'm able to map out some global lines that
Mm.
kind of tell you where uh, your energy lies, where you'll find love, or where
Oh,
in the world
see,
is
I'm
best,
learning another thing.
what places in the world are best for your career. Uh, and again, it's something helpful. It's a helpful tool. It's not always 100% because
Mhm.
that can change.
Yeah.
um, you know what you want changes and evolves. over time and with age, but it does give you a starting point if you're confused. And also using someone like myself who is a travel agent or who does global relocation, and someone who's actually lived abroad and traveled extensively, who can help give you some guidance and to kind of throw some things at you that you hadn't considered and that you wouldn't consider if you've never done it.
Yeah.
And so there is help out there, if it's something that you desire to do. And I'm not terribly expensive. So because this is more a labor of love, and I enjoy seeing people live intentionally and making the most of life, because life is short. We have to enjoy the time that we have here.
Absolutely. And just to throw out there, so how we are connected, we both actually worked in the travel industry. So, right. And so that's how our relationship started. And then Lynelle has moved literally, figuratively, more so than me in the travel space, but she's also been a flight attendant. As she said, she's lived abroad. She'll pick up and move to another state, all those things. No problem for her to move like that. So she definitely is a source of information, a great resource. And like I said, it's about that community. So find and connect with those people and learn from them and grow, and then just do it. Get out there and make it happen, and even if you're not ready to, leave or, live abroad just yet, maybe go somewhere for like a week or two or a month or whatever, and just test it out. And you never know. You absolutely never know what comes of that.
And about those groups and the videos, a girlfriend who's interested in moving abroad, and she sent me one yesterday that some people made. And, some of the things they said were on point and some of them were not. And then they actually gave their view on China. And they even said that they'd never been to China. And so I'm like, how can you give your view on a place that you've never been? They're basing it on news stories and things like that. And some of the things that they were saying, I could tell that they had not been there because they simply were not true. So those are resources, but some of the things kind of take it with a grain of salt, because it's like going to watch a movie. And, this person loves the movie and this person hated it.
I mean, what we said earlier about Vegas.
Exactly.
Like, I loved it. You not as much. So.
Yeah, it's not a one size fits all. And it's not that I didn't like it. It was just I was going through something at that time, and Vegas. Vegas was my rebound place. So had I gone there under different circumstances or at a different time in my life, I may have loved it. But it served the purpose for the time that I was there. And I've been back to visit since, because Vegas is Vegas. But, you have to take some things with a grain of salt. Sure, get involved with groups and things of that nature. But first, find yourself.
Yeah.
First, take that time to have that quiet time and that peace that you desire. Get yourself together first, and then you can connect with those groups after you're whole.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And so that kind of, brings me to my framework. So I created a dream lifestyle framework. And so the first step is dream. Then it's to decide, design, and then drive. So dream, just whatever, just dream big, just think about it, see it, all the things. And then, you get to the point where, okay, you decide, well, what dream do you want to go for? And then you start to design it. So what does it look like? And drive is putting in the work and the effort to get there. So yeah, that goes to what you said. You need to learn yourself. And so those are some steps that you can do to get to know yourself and then move towards whatever that dream is, whether it's travel, whether it's something else. But those are some tools that you can use to get there. And again, everything that we're saying, even this podcast, is a resource. You take from it what you need, what you want at that time. Because like you said, it is timing that makes a difference. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's not a one size fits all.
Right. Absolutely. So let's kind of go back to China because COVID was an interrupter, right? You had planned to be there and then COVID.
Well, yeah. So imagine packing up your stuff to go on a vacation. I went on a vacation with 50 other women from all over China, most of them women from different parts of the United States who chose to move to China. And we had this trip planned for months to go to Bali, Indonesia. And it was a beautiful time. We were there for a week, and I had planned a stop on the way home in Australia to visit my cousins that were working for the State Department, and it was just great. And then COVID kind of started before I left, but I- we're thinking that okay, by the time I'm back from vacation, it'll have blown over, but it didn't blow over. It kind of like
Blew
exploded.
up.
Yeah, so I had an amazing time in Indonesia, and I did get to Australia, and some of the ladies that were going directly back to China after Bali chose to extend because COVID had just kind of gotten out of control in China. And the news was outrageous, and people were afraid, so they extended, and I left and went to Australia. And so when it was time for me to return to China from Australia, my flight was canceled, and the country was shut down, and I wasn't able to go back. And honestly, I had a suitcase, a roller bag with swimsuits. I don't. I'm going to be funny for a minute. I don't even think I had any underwear because if you're gonna if you're gonna be in swimsuits all week, what do you need underwear for? So I left with a week worth of swimsuits and a few outfits to wear out, and some of my personal items, and that's all I had. And I had a full apartment there with, things in my nightstand, stuff in the bathroom, and my medicine cabinet, all of my personal things. And I have not been back to that apartment to this day, because every time I thought I was going to get to go back, there was another outbreak and another outbreak. And then at one point, I really needed to work because I was, exhausting my savings. COVID was still going on, but I'm like, what other countries can I apply to that aren't having this? And so I was offered a job in Vietnam, and I did all of the paperwork and the authentications and things that I needed, to be able uh, to teach in Vietnam. And every time they got ready to bring me over, they had another outbreak and another outbreak. So that never came to fruition. And so, I kind of bounced around here in the States, from this state to that state, this relative's house to that, because I mean, I eventually had to leave Australia and come back here, and I had nothing set up because it was COVID. So how could you set anything up? And I kind of sold my vehicle before I left. I didn't have a house here or anything because I planned on being in China long term.
Right.
So it's just one of those things that people have been going to China for years and teaching in other places. And when I decide to go, there's a global pandemic. So it's not something that you can prepare for. But I'm a strong woman, and I had to, kick into my skills set there, and growing up in Detroit as a Detroit native, resilient and able to adapt to the situation, and I did that. And I came back here, and it was meant for me to come back at that time because I didn't know that shortly after returning that I was going to lose my mother. I lost a close cousin who practically raised me. She's my first cousin, but she's a lot older because my dad had much older brothers and sisters. There were 16 of them. So my cousin Elaine died first, and then my mother transitioned, and I had two dogs and two beautiful Maltese boys. that I got when I was losing a baby. And so they're like my kids. And so one of them, Ty Neiman, they're Ty Neiman and Jackson Nordstrom, because the mother likes to shop. So Ty Neiman also transitioned, and the anniversary of that is coming up. He actually passed on Mother's Day, my first Mother's Day without my mom. And so, things that happen to you, they just make you stronger and build character. And they happen to you as well so that you can be a resource and so you can help others. I truly believe that everything we go through is so that we can be there for someone else. We can be the roadmap to say, I did it and this is how I did it. And so you do it your way, but I want to show you one way that you can get through it. And I don't want to leave this out because it's very important, especially when we start talking about women's rights and reproductive health. So while in Australia, in China, I was, on glass bridges, hiking, hiking to pagodas, taking the train. So I was doing a lot of walking. I think 1 month I had over 300,000 footsteps. That's major. So in Australia, I was very still, and that allowed time for a fibroid to grow because I wasn't being as active. It was COVID, so kind of, sheltering in and just kind of, staying in the house and just trying to keep yourself entertained. And so I got sick over there, and I had to start going to the doctor, paying out of pocket because we're not a part of the universal healthcare system. And so if I had been from the UK or someplace that had a reciprocity, then, they would have seen me. But being from the United States, we're not a part of that. And so I was paying for ultrasounds, MRIs, and things like that out of pocket because I wasn't feeling well. And so that was another caveat to returning to the States. I wasn't well, and I was needing to have major surgery, and that kept getting pushed back because of COVID. And so finally I was able to have it, and it was a 24 centimeter fibroid from the front of me to the back of me. And finally the surgeon who Dr. Brar, who she's now moved to Atlanta, she's my angel. She had wings because she said, I don't know how anybody let you walk around with this for so long. And so she's my hero. She got me back healthy. And during this, I'm starting to get excited now because during this time, I reconnected with a friend from college who we never dated. And we both went to Fisk University 30 years ago. And he saw me on social media, and he inboxed me and said, let's catch up. So I gave him a call, and we began to catch up. And, so again, this is during COVID. So nobody's working because there's nowhere to work. Everything's shut down. People are sick. So we just began talking every day, all day. And even during COVID, we started traveling to see each other because at one point I had left Detroit and gone back to Maryland, where I had previously lived, and I was staying with a girlfriend there. And so I was flying back and forth to see him, and he would fly back and forth to see me. Even during COVID, we did this. And so we fell in love, and and we decided that we were going to get married. So imagine that a woman in her early 50s getting married for the first time, because when you get to be that age and you haven't been married, you start to think that maybe you're never going to get married. And I was okay with that. I had made peace with it. I was enjoying my life, but I enjoy being married, and I love the institution of marriage, and we have a lot of fun. And he didn't have the travel bug like I do, and so now he does. So I rubbed off on him, and so now he says, we're going to be off for a week for the holiday. Where are we going?
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, right? Matching your energy, matching your adventure and love for travel. And something you said I want to raise up. So, because we've been talking about, and we kind of been promoting, like, yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead. If you want, try it, go to another country, think about moving, relocating, all those things. Learning about their healthcare and how you're able to get healthcare, that's something to keep in mind as well. So all the things that are important to you in the US, keep those things in mind even when you're considering moving somewhere else, because that's important as well. So just want to throw that out, as things that could be part of your checklist, things to consider when you are thinking about moving. And again, get with a professional, someone who has a business around this, can aid you as well. And that's something that Lynelle provides, a service that she provides. So Lynelle, for the woman watching who has done everything right, the career, the service, the sacrifice, and still feels like her own freedom is a luxury she hasn't yet earned, what permission do you give her?
Well, I give her permission to dream, uh, permission to be, permission to be who you are, to be yourself, to love yourself fully, to permission to explore, um, permission to live unapologetic, to live outside of the box. We don't have to stay in this box that people want to put us in, and just be free to be you. You have an idea of what you want out of life and things that you dreamed about, and so don't just dream it, do it, because
Yeah.
tomorrow is not promised and life is short, and you don't want to have any regrets. And I want women especially to please stop waiting until you retire to start living. Start living today, intentionally, however you can, whenever you can. Book the trip, book the trip, buy the shoes, eat
Wear
the
the
steak,
shoes.
buy the shoes, wear the shoes. Yeah, don't just buy them and save them for a special occasion. Every day is a special occasion. And if we didn't learn anything from COVID, um, we should have learned that, because so many people who loved life and who were vibrant people lost their lives. And so, we just don't know what tomorrow brings. And so we have to prepare for a rainy day always, but we have to live for today. And that is what I promote in the Start Healthy magazine. Um, I also have a book that has been written, it has been published, but it hasn't been launched yet. And it is called Plan B, Your Guide to Becoming an Expat. And there's a lot of information in that book that will help you become an expat. And I am working on an app that you can take courses in, to learn how to apply for your visas and different things. And then within the app, you'll even be able to set up consultations with me. And of course, you can always email me, um, or call me and set up a consultation, if you're interested in relocating abroad, or if you want to book an exploration trip, or astrocartography. And I also have two additional books in the process of being published, and these are some titles that most women will probably resonate with. And one of them is called She Ain't Your Friend," and I said it that way on purpose. And the title sounds like the book could be negative, but it's really a positive book. And it's saying that, real, positive female friendships are possible, but it does, talk a little bit about the shade and the things that we deal with as women. And I don't know why that's so much a women thing, but we all have to use our powers for good and learn to play nicely. And the other one is, I'm not here for you to like me. And that comes from years of people's opinion of you, their perceptions of you, and you can't control any of it. But guess what? That's not who you are, and you don't have to own that. And so these are very positive books, self-help books, if you will, for women to stand in their power and to rise.
Yeah, I love that. And so again, you'll have Lynelle's information as far as how you can get your hands on these books, because we do need community. We do need a sisterhood. We can do things on our own, but we don't have to, right? Because there's other people who can share that journey with us. So you don't wait for permission, you become it. And when you become it, everything rises to meet you. That's the Dream Lifestyle Standard. And if you're ready to live it, join us inside the Dream Lifestyle Collective. We provide the strategy, sisterhood, and structure for Black women 50 plus, ready for their next chapter. And Lynelle, before I ask this last question, I know you wanted to share something, how you're helping Corey. That's one of the things that you.
Yeah. So I told you the story about the man, and I got the ring, and so and it's funny how you manifest things for yourself and how other people manifest things for you, because I'll make it quick because I don't know how much time we have. But so when I was living in Chicago, I was on this the opening for this TV show called Chicagolicious, and it was a hair show with a guy, AJ, who he's done like Michelle Obama's hair, all of these famous people. And so I'm in the opening and I've got this big blonde hair, and McCrae is doing my hair. And so when they flash to me, they say, "We have politicians' wives."
Mm.
And at the time, I had never dated a politician or thought that I would be a politician's wife. But my husband, he is, that is the field that he works in. And he has, since college, worked for everybody in the industry. And most recently, our wonderful governor here in Michigan. So he's running now for State Senate District 3. And I'm so proud of him because he's worked so hard. And he's always been, behind the scenes doing things to help people, and he's passionate about it. And so what you'll see on the screen now is a fundraiser that he's having tonight at Soul on Ice, and you guys are welcome to come. Any donation, big or small, we appreciate it all. And you can come and meet the man in person, and he'll learn all about him if you live in District 3. And so District 3 is from, let me see, how do I explain this? It's Detroit from Livernois all the way to the Grosse Pointe line. So is part of the west side and all of the east side of Detroit. It's also Highland Park and Hamtramck. So if you live in District 3 and you want to come to the fundraiser tonight, you'll meet Corey. You'll also meet me and some of our friends from Fisk. So this fundraiser is being put on by Fisk Friends for Corey, and we have more coming up. So if you come tonight, you'll find out about the other ones that we have coming up, and you can also check out his Facebook page, Corey Hall for State Senate. And thanks for letting me give him a plug.
Yeah, absolutely, because we do have some local folks that are, that watch, and the two people that I mentioned who chimed in before, I believe that they're in that district, so they may be interested. And then for those, because this is a global, honey, we are global. So for anyone who's watching, wherever you are, if you're wanting to support, the information is there so that you can support from wherever you are. All right, Lynelle, what is one step a woman can take today to begin mothering her global future?
To begin mothering her global future. So, well, everything starts with a plan. And so, like I said before, you know what you dreamed about. And so you kind of have some idea of something that you'd like to do. We'll turn that into reality. And one of the things I absolutely love is this, the vision board.
Mm-hmm.
Creating a vision board or creating a journal, but
Mm-hmm.
also seeking the information. There's so much information available to us now that wasn't even available, when we were coming up, because we didn't have the internet. And we didn't. I don't know. I'm sure there were travel agents back then, but I don't know if there were people doing global relocation and that type of thing. But use the tools that you have available to you at your disposal, and start collecting information and doing your research on things that you think you might want to do, be it relocating internationally or opening a business or whatever it is. You need to have all the information, all the facts, and you just start putting a plan together and just take it step by step, day by day, one thing at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and there will be naysayers, and just ignore that. Be quiet, keep it to yourself, except for your close knit support group, people who you know who have your back and who are going to be encouragers. Because when you're trying to do something, the last thing you need is unsolicited negative advice from people that don't want to see you rise. So quiet, research, dream, map out your plan.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. So Lynelle Baker-Hall, thank you so much for joining us on Women of Color in Intimate Conversation, the Women of Color live version. And shout out again to the Leon Thomas group, who is the production team of this production. And for those who are watching, listening, share this with a woman who is ready to stop shrinking and start architecting. And next week we'll be back Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern with Muji Bokomsom. She is a founder and visionary tapping in from Nigeria. See you next time.